January 18, 2022, Asheville, North Carolina. The frost clung to the windows of the Taylor residence like 1,000 spiderwebs spun in silence. It was 6:35 a.m. when Marlene Taylor, a single mother of two, knocked on her daughter Avery's bedroom door to wake her for school. Avery had just turned 14 the week prior, and the celebration was still fresh in the air, balloons lingering in corners. A cake container on the kitchen counter with the last untouched slice. Avery? Silence. Marlene turned the knob, locked. She frowned, heart fluttering, and knocked again, harder. When there was still no answer, she retrieved the spare key from atop the doorframe and entered. The room was cold, the window ajar. Avery's bed was neatly made. Too neatly. Her phone was missing, her panda plushie was gone, and the blanket her late father had given her, the one with the moon and stars stitched into the edges, had vanished. Marlene dropped her coffee mug. By 7:02 a.m., she dialed 911. Police responded quickly. Officer Darren Keyes, a seasoned Asheville PD patrolman, was the first on the scene. He questioned Marlene, walked the property, took photos, and called for backup. Within hours, the neighborhood buzzed with activity. Dogs sniffed footprints in the frost. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, and helicopters loomed overhead. Avery Taylor had vanished. Marlene sobbed into a quilt on the porch swing. She would never run away. Not without her medication. Not without telling me. Her words echoed what every mother in her position hoped, that it wasn't what it looked like. But it was. In Avery's room, beneath a loose floorboard, officers found a scrap of paper with usernames and passwords. One of them was for an app called Chatter, a platform unfamiliar to Marlene but known to teenagers for its anonymity and fast chats. Detective Claire Moreno was assigned the case by noon, a rising star in the department with a sharp mind and a personal vendetta against crimes involving minors. Within the first hour of reviewing Avery's online activity, she found messages that chilled her to the core. Can't wait to finally meet you. Tonight, you promised. Bring the blanket. The sender's username, Lone Rider 87. Detective Claire Moreno had seen her share of runaways and digital breadcrumbs. But something about this case made her pulse spike. By 8 p.m., she sat at her desk in the downtown precinct, lit only by the dim glow of her dual monitors. Avery's chatter logs had just arrived through the cyber unit. The username Lone Rider 87 was active for the past 3 weeks. The chat history spanned 184 pages. Claire started reading. It started innocently. Hey there, you love stargazing? That's cool. Yeah, I love the moon. Avery had replied. My dad used to take me camping just to look at stars. Claire read on, fingers clenched tight. The tone shifted over time. Compliments, empathy, secrets. Then came the manipulation. You're mature for your age. Way more than girls my age. If your mom doesn't understand you, maybe I can. Then, the chilling line. Let's finally meet. Just you, me, and the stars. The user never gave a real name, but boasted being 19, a community college student in Boone, 2 hours north of Asheville. All signs pointed to grooming. Claire immediately contacted Chatter's legal response team and requested IP logs. In the meantime, she contacted the school district to retrieve any social media training records Avery may have taken. Most children were required to complete an internet safety module, but Claire knew better. Modules were checkboxes. Predators like Lone Rider 87 knew how to bypass checklists. An hour later, the cyber unit called back. The IP had been traced, not to Boone, but to a remote cabin near Hendersonville, rented under a fake name, paid for in cash. Claire stood up, heart pounding. She ordered a team. By the time Claire and her team reached the cabin just outside Hendersonville, the temperature had dropped to 29 degrees. Snow crunched beneath their boots. The air smelled of pine, rot, and frozen earth. Officer Keyes had joined them, and 2 more deputies from the county were stationed nearby, waiting for the go. The cabin sat at the edge of a ridge, surrounded by skeletal trees. The chimney was cold, no lights, no car in sight. Claire approached first, weapon drawn. Asheville PD, no response. She signaled, and Officer Keyes broke the lock. Inside, nothing. No signs of a struggle. But in the far corner of the room, Behind a musty love seat, they found something. A travel-size bottle of acetaminophen, a roll of duct tape, and a cell phone. Pink, with a moon and stars phone charm. Get that to the lab. Now, Claire said. Deputy Monroe found tire tracks out back. 2 sets, one larger, one smaller. They ran through the woods and led down a path toward Blue Ridge Highway. Then came the break. Just past the tree line, one of the K9 units began barking uncontrollably. Claire and her team rushed over. Nestled in the snow, under a rock slab, was Avery's panda plushie. And beneath it, what looked like blood. The blood under the panda was fresh, not frozen. Claire crouched beside it, her gloved hand hovering over the red-stained snow. This wasn't here more than an hour ago, she muttered. Which means whoever was here, was just here. Deputy Monroe added, glancing into the woods. Claire stood and barked into her radio. Seal the area. I want roadblocks on every exit within 5 miles. And get me thermal drones in the air, now. Within minutes, the trees above buzzed with rotors. The team fanned out. Claire, Officer Keyes, and a bloodhound handler moved deeper into the forest. 30 minutes in, the bloodhound caught another scent. A scrap of fabric, Avery's scarf, was found snagged on a thorn bush. Next to it, a broken silver necklace with the letter A. Claire's gut twisted. This wasn't just abandonment. This was a trail, a deliberate one. And it wasn't over. A call came through from headquarters. The pink phone they found had been wiped clean. But the forensic unit managed to retrieve one photo. A blurry shot of a car's interior. A dark dashboard, pine-scented air freshener hanging from the mirror. A glimpse of a male hand on the wheel, with a faded tattoo, the silhouette of a crow. Claire froze. That tattoo had appeared in a cold case from 5 years prior. A missing girl in Silva. Same app, same digital silence. This wasn't his first. Claire radioed in. I want files on every case in the last 10 years involving a missing girl. Aged 12 to 16. Last seen chatting online. Get me everything from Western Carolina to Tennessee border. We're dealing with a repeat predator. As she turned back toward the trail, a crunch of snow snapped everyone's attention. Officer Keyes raised his weapon. Who's there? A figure emerged slowly from behind the trees. A man, early 30s. Bearded, shaking. Please, I think I saw her. He stammered. The man who emerged from the woods was disheveled, wearing a camo jacket too thin for the weather and clutching a battered thermos like a lifeline. He had hollow cheeks and nervous eyes that flicked from face to face. Start talking, Claire said, voice firm but steady. What did you see, and when? He took a shaky sip from the thermos. Name's Richie. I live in a camper back there, by Miller's Creek. Don't have power or much of anything. But I mind my business. Around 3 this morning, I heard a car, one of those quiet ones. Electric maybe. It stopped near the fire road. Claire nodded, gesturing for Monroe to take notes. Then what? I saw a girl, young, real young. She had on a blanket, blue with stars, looked cold and scared. There was a man, tall, hoodie on. He was pulling her by the arm. You see his face? No, but I did see his ride. Black Jeep, mud up the sides, out-of-state plates. Georgia, maybe. Claire stepped back, adrenaline lighting every nerve. Did you see which direction they went? Back south, toward Route 276. But what? I think she dropped something when he wasn't looking. It's how I knew something was wrong. Richie reached into his coat pocket and slowly pulled out a small item wrapped in a handkerchief. Claire took it gently, unwrapping it. Avery's asthma inhaler. Her initials were on the side. Claire's heart hammered. You've done the right thing. Richie, stay with Deputy Monroe. We'll get you warm and fed. She turned to her radio. All units, be on the lookout for a black Jeep Wrangler. Likely with Georgia plates. Suspect is traveling southbound from Miller's Creek area. Possibly armed. Child is believed to be in the vehicle. They now had a direction. A vehicle. And Avery was still alive. But how long did they have? Just then, a call came through from a gas station in Brevard. A clerk had spotted a girl matching Avery's description, blanket, pale, frightened, enter the bathroom with a man. The clerk got spooked when he saw blood on her sleeve and dialed 911. Claire didn't wait. Keys. With me. Lights and sirens. The cruiser roared to life as they sped south, the forest blurring past the windows. Back at the gas station, the clerk nervously stood outside. He saw me on the phone. He dragged her out the back. They're gone. Claire scanned the surveillance footage inside. Her fingers curled into fists. It was Avery, eyes swollen, face pale, gripping the same blanket from her bedroom. And the man beside her? His crow tattoo was clearly visible as he pushed open the bathroom door. By the time Claire and Officer Keyes left the gas station, the roads were already crawling with law enforcement. Highway patrol, local deputies, and FBI field agents had joined the effort. The image of the suspect and Avery had been sent statewide. Helicopters combed the mountain roads while drones buzzed over dense woods and remote cabins. Claire gripped the dash as Keyes swerved to avoid a snowplow. Her phone buzzed again. Claire, she answered. This is Agent Raphael Chen, FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit. We've reviewed the footage. You're dealing with a methodical repeat offender. He's not improvising, he planned this. We already assumed as much. Any profile leads? Mid-30s. Likely works freelance or seasonal jobs. Has a vehicle that blends in. Jeep fits the pattern. He targets emotionally vulnerable girls through social apps. You said he's used the handle Lone Rider 87? Yes. And he's got a crow tattoo. That links him to a 2017 Silva case. There was a pause. Then, Claire, that case never closed. We believe your suspect is someone named Matthew Creighton, former mechanic, arrested twice for stalking minors but never convicted. He disappeared off the grid in 2018. Claire's stomach dropped. We need his last known address. And every known associate. Already on it. But listen carefully. If this is Creighton, he never keeps them long. Claire hung up, trying not to imagine what that meant. 3 miles south of the gas station, deep within Pisgah National Forest, a black Jeep rolled slowly down a logging road. Inside, Avery sat shivering, arms wrapped tight around herself. Her lip was split, her breath fogged the cold air. The man beside her, Matthew Creighton, glanced at her every few seconds, his grip tightening on the steering wheel. You shouldn't have gone in that store, he said flatly. People notice things. I told you that. Avery said nothing. Her eyes darted to the door handle. But she didn't move. We're almost there. After that, no more running around. The Jeep turned down a barely visible dirt path, branches scraping the sides. It stopped beside an old hunting cabin with a collapsed porch and no electricity. Creighton stepped out, dragging her by the wrist. Avery's eyes caught something, a shovel leaning against the cabin wall. A fire pit. A metal drum. Her heart raced. Back at the command center, Claire stood before a large map of the Blue Ridge Range. Red pins marking sightings. Monroe rushed in, breathless. We've got him. Claire's head snapped up. Where? Drone picked up heat signature in Sector 12. Jeep. Cabin nearby. Claire grabbed her coat. Move every unit we have. Quietly. We're going in. The approach to the cabin was slow and deliberate. Claire led the tactical team along the ridge, snow crunching beneath their boots. Radios low, rifles up. Drone footage confirmed Creighton was still inside. The Jeep was cold, and Avery had not been seen since the gas station. Every minute mattered. They surrounded the structure. Claire signaled for silence, then called out, Matthew Creighton. This is Detective Claire Moreno with Asheville PD. We know you're inside. Come out with your hands where we can see them. No reply. She waited. Then again. Louder. Still silence. Thermal shows movement. One of the agents whispered. 2 heat signatures. One crouched low, other pacing. Claire's gut twisted. Avery was still alive. She motioned to Keyes. We breach the side. No gunfire unless necessary. We need that girl breathing. On her signal, 2 agents slammed the side door with a ram. Wood splintered. Yelling erupted. Police. Don't move. Claire rushed in behind them. The room was dark, lit only by a battery lantern. The smell was thick, gasoline, sweat, and metal. Avery was on the floor, hands zip-tied, mouth gagged. Creighton lunged from behind a curtain, brandishing a hunting knife. Keyes fired. Creighton dropped to the ground, screaming, clutching his thigh. Claire ran to Avery, tore off the gag, and cut the zip ties. You're safe now. You hear me? You're safe. Avery sobbed into Claire's coat as backup stormed in. Paramedics were called. Creighton was handcuffed and dragged out, bleeding but alive. As he passed Claire, he muttered, "She came to me. They always do." Claire didn't blink. "You'll never see another girl again." Outside, Avery was wrapped in a thermal blanket, IV line already running through her arm. Her lips were cracked, bruised, but she was alive. Claire crouched beside her, voice soft. "You held on. You were so brave." Avery's voice was a whisper. "I left the scarf. I hoped someone would follow." Claire smiled through tears. "You saved yourself." The flashing lights of police cruisers still lit up the woods when Claire finally stepped outside the cabin. Snow began to fall again, light and slow, covering the blood-stained ground in a deceptive calm. Avery had been transported to Mission Hospital by helicopter. The EMTs said her vitals were stable, but trauma ran deeper than a pulse. Claire stayed behind, coordinating evidence collection, watching as Creighton was loaded into a separate ambulance under heavy guard. Monroe approached her, his voice low. "Media's already setting up down the road. Chief wants you to do a statement." Claire exhaled. "Let them wait. I want a full sweep of this property. Every floorboard, every nail. This isn't the first time he's done this." "You think there's more?" "I think he's been hiding trophies. And I think we're going to find them." Back inside the cabin, agents began peeling back layers of decay. Behind a loose panel in the bedroom wall, they uncovered a small wooden box. Inside, a stack of Polaroids. Girls, different ages, different years, all posed the same way, staring straight at the camera. Their expressions numb. Claire's stomach churned. Each photo was labeled with a name and date. The earliest was from 2012. Richie, the hermit who had helped earlier, was sitting by a fire outside, wrapped in a county-issued blanket, sipping broth. When Claire showed him one of the photos, he flinched. I saw her. Years ago. Thought she was someone's niece or something." Claire nodded grimly. "You're not the only one who didn't ask questions." The next morning, Claire visited Avery in the hospital. The girl was pale but awake, staring out the window. "I brought you something," Claire said, holding up the panda plushie. "Found it under a rock near the cabin." Avery took it slowly. Her eyes welled up. "I thought I lost him." "No," Claire said. "You never let go." There was a knock. Marlene stepped in, eyes red but glowing with relief. She rushed to her daughter and kissed her forehead, tears flowing freely. Claire gave them a moment. But before she left, Avery looked up. "Will he ever hurt anyone again?" "No," Claire said, "not on my watch." 3 days later, the town of Asheville remained caught in a media whirlwind. News vans lined the police station. Reporters camped outside the courthouse. Headlines read, "Mountain Monster Captured," "Teen Girl Escapes Serial Predator," and "How Social Apps Lure Our Children." Detective Claire Moreno stood behind the podium at a press conference, the faces of exhausted officers flanking her. Flashes popped, microphones crowded forward. She spoke calmly. "We have confirmed that Matthew Creighton is connected to at least 5 other disappearances across North Carolina and eastern Tennessee. The investigation is ongoing. We are asking anyone with information about past sightings, vehicles, or potential victims to come forward." One reporter shouted, "Is Avery Taylor expected to testify?" Claire's jaw tightened. "That decision will be made in time, with sensitivity to her recovery. Blank. Underscore. Blank." Meanwhile, in a quiet room at Mission Hospital, Avery held a pencil in trembling fingers, sketching a field of stars. A child trauma counselor sat beside her. "You like to draw the sky?" Avery nodded. "When I was in that car, I looked up. I told myself the stars were watching. That I wasn't alone." "You weren't," the counselor whispered. "You never were." Blank. Underscore. Blank. Back at the cabin, forensic teams were still recovering evidence. The tally of items grew each day: clothing fragments, photo negatives, phone chargers, scribbled notes. A second box was found, buried in the woods behind the shed. Inside were keepsakes, lockets, bracelets, hair ties. Claire stared at them with hollow eyes. Each piece was a name waiting to be discovered. She called in Agent Raphael Chen. "We'll need to reopen every unsolved missing persons case from 2010 forward," she said. especially ones dismissed as runaways. We're going to need a task force. No, Claire said, we're going to need a reckoning. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Creighton's first court hearing was scheduled for February 14th. He appeared in an orange jumpsuit. Flanked by 2 deputies, he smirked as cameras clicked. Claire sat in the back row, arms crossed. The judge read the charges: multiple counts of abduction, unlawful imprisonment, attempted murder, and possession of child pornography. More would follow. Creighton's attorney entered a plea: not guilty. Claire didn't flinch. She leaned to Monroe beside her and said, "We're going to bury him in evidence." Winter lingered long that year in Asheville, coating rooftops in frost and silencing the morning birdsong. But in the Taylor home, a different season was beginning. Avery sat by the window, wearing a soft knit beanie that covered the healing scar above her ear. She was sketching again. This time, not stars, but a clearing. A cabin. A dark jeep disappearing into trees. Her fingers still trembled sometimes, but the lines were strong. Downstairs, Marlene finished a phone call with the district attorney's office. She hung up and took a deep breath. Justice was slow, but it was moving. Claire Moreno arrived not long after, holding a manila folder. "This is everything Creighton documented," she said, laying the file down gently. He kept journals, drawings, timelines, but nothing about why. He didn't need a why. Marlene said coldly, "Some people just need to be stopped." Claire nodded. "And you helped us do that." She turned to Avery. "So did you." Avery looked up. "Can I ask something?" "Anything. Will I ever feel normal again?" Claire paused. "I don't know what normal means. But I do know you'll feel strong. Maybe not all the time, but enough to make it matter." Avery smiled faintly. "Then I'll take strong. Blank. Underscore. Blank." In early March, Matthew Creighton was officially indicted on 12 counts of first-degree felony offenses. His trial was set for July, but no one doubted the outcome anymore. The town erected a memorial near the edge of Blue Ridge Highway, 5 stones for 5 missing girls, with space left for more. At the center, a plaque read, "We see you now. We remember." Claire returned often to that spot, not to mourn, but to promise. The Blue Ridge shadows were long, but light was breaking through. Blank. Underscore. Blank.